A lot of artists use drugs, whether you know it or not. A lot of the best music or a lot of the best inventions or creations of the world have been made while the creator was on drugs. And this is a fact. Stephen King, one of the greatest writers in the world, he used to use a huge cocktail of drugs to become one of the greatest writers in the world. Well, most people just use a couple drugs. King used to use cocaine, Xanax, Valium, NyQuil, beer, tobacco, weed, just to get him through the day. He's known to say that he doesn't even remember writing some of his books because he was so fucked up off the drugs. Lil Wayne has always rapped about being a drug addict. He's known to drink lean promethazine syrup until he has seizures. Pimp C, he's known to have died because of the lean, because of that purple drink, that promethazine cough syrup that is so popular now in the hip hop culture. Kurt Cobain, heroin addict, shot himself in the head from depression, or who knows why. Edgar Allan Poe, alcoholic. Ernest Hemmingway, alcoholic. Charles Dickens, when he wasn't writing Christmas carols, he was smoking opium. Drug use in art has long been associated. I hear about this kid, Lil Peep, dying of a Xanax overdose. He just came out this year with his music and came out with his videos, and he was blowing up. He had all the tattoos on his face, white rapper. It was marketable. He was rapping about being sad and drugs, and the shit that he rapped about, it happened in his life. He died from doing drugs. I had a good friend of mine who I was working with, a rapper named Panda Vuitton, and he's a real talented rapper from the Bay Area. I was working with him a couple years ago out in LA, and we were working on some projects, and I was considering signing him. And then one day I get a call, says he's in the hospital in a coma, and come to find out Panda overdosed on some drugs. And I don't mean to be telling his business and his family's business, but my guy Panda Vuitton, he OD'd. And I don't know how he's doing right now. I hear he's doing better, but last I seen him, he was out of it, and he almost died. They found him face down in a curb. And he used to pop pills and drink lean, and we'd smoke weed, but he'd always be on those pills. He became a big prescription drug addict. And I remember one day we were walking down the street, and we were walking to the studio, and he was walking so slow. I couldn't even walk slow enough to keep up with him. I was trying to walk slow, but I couldn't even walk that slow because he was so high. I didn't know what he was on. I thought he was just high on the weed. I didn't realize he was on pills so hard. But yeah, man, my guy Panda, man, he OD'd. And it's real. All that Percocet, Molly Percocet and all that shit ain't cool. That shit is lame if you ask me. I don't want to ever judge anybody, but I just don't get it. Like rappers rapping about popping pills and all of this drug use. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, you could really die from this stuff, and Lil Peep is a modern day proof that drugs will kill you. It's nothing glamorous. Popping, I know it looks cute holding a little pill and saying you sell drugs, but it's not cool to be addicted to drugs. That stuff is really serious. Weed is one thing. Even that lean, you take that lean, your heart slow down to where you die. These are man-made drugs, and you don't know what's in this shit. Take 1 or 2 of those too much, you mix it with some alcohol, or you mix it with the wrong food, and you're fucking dead. I don't condone drug use, but hey, to each his own, and do whatever you can to be creative. Do whatever you can to express yourself, or if you need to slow down, or it's best to be sober, if you ask me. Drugs and music culture has always collided. I think the essence of creativity is channeling parts of your brain and taking thoughts from your brain and manifesting them into something that can possibly be sold. That's why I think people like to use drugs when they're in the creative process. You're trying to tap into deep thoughts and unknown parts of your brain to create something special, so people feel like they need inhibitors and drugs. Find inspiration any way that you can. Don't allow lack of drugs to be an excuse for lack of creativity. You shouldn't need drugs to be creative. I've heard people say cocaine gets them talking, and some artists don't like creating songs unless they got a little cocaine in their system. Me personally, I like alcohol. Alcohol is, I'd say, my drug of choice. I like to drink alcohol before I write music or when I'm writing. Alcohol has always been known as a truth serum. You speak from the heart when you're drunk sometimes. Sometimes I find words that I usually wouldn't use or say things that I normally wouldn't say when I'm on alcohol, when I'm writing a song. Alcohol makes me a little more happy and less tense. Some artists like to use drugs to fuel their creativity. You'll often come to music studios and there'll be a bunch of weed smoke in the air. Weed is known for its relaxing and sedating effects. Maybe the relaxing feeling helps take the stress away from paying for $1,000 a day studio session. Or sometimes weed helps people talk more, think more, and hear things in a more abstract way. Drug use has always been looked down upon because in many cases, drug use can lead to severe failure in your life. Nobody wants to be a crackhead, unemployed, stealing from their family. So drug use has always been looked down upon. But there are some successful drug addicts out there. And I'm not going to point no fingers at anybody, but there are some successful people who have promoted drugs throughout their career, such as Wiz Khalifa. I used to say, if you smoke weed or you're on pot, you're going to fail in life. That is the case for most. There are a lot of functional drug addicts in society. Some people can use their drugs and they don't get too carried away with it, and they don't let it control their life and turn them upside down and ruin their family, kill them. I think there's nothing wrong with living your life, but everything in moderation. Popping 3, 4, 5 pills. Pop a pill, okay, see what it's about. It's medicine. You can use it, but it's when you abuse it. That's why I call it drug abuse, because you're abusing the drugs. You're using it too much. You drink, but you're not supposed to get drunk, sloppy drunk, where you're passed out. Being sloppy drunk is the equivalent of ODing on pills. So, you got to be careful with that stuff. Rest in peace, Lil Peep. Condolences to his family and all that. Life is what you make it. This is what you speak about. Is this what you think about? This is what you talk about, popping pills. This is what you promote on your Instagram, and this is your lifestyle. Then this is how you'll die. You live by the gun, you die by the gun. So I didn't listen to his music, but I hear that's what he rapped about. Doing drugs, overdosing, and dying, and depression. Life is what you make it. Remember that. Biggie talked about he was ready to die. And sure enough, he died right after he made that fucking album. A year or two after he made that album. He always rapped about people coming to kill him. He spoke up his own death. So you also got to be careful about the shit you say and the shit you wish for. Whether you know that you're wishing for it is another thing. But to actually say things is powerful. To even say things, to utter words out of your mouth is more powerful than most people realize. You got to be careful. I pray for anybody who has a drug addiction that's out of control to where they overdose. Be careful out there. Life is very short. Life is very fragile. Be careful what you put in your body. Pause.